Okay. So, hello everyone. This is Abhiram Shindikar, and I'm starting this series of networking where I'll be reaching out to marketing experts, and we will be discussing various topics on marketing. So today is October 31st, and I have Ganesh Kulkarni with me. Uh, Hi, Ganesh.
Hey, hi everyone.
So, yeah, welcome to the show. Come recording. And yeah, so about Ganesh has over 20 years of experience in marketing field, and from scaling startups to working with big giants, and now currently he is working at VOZIQ as a senior director of marketing. So welcome to the show, Ganesh. uh,
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me, Abhiram. I'm glad to be
yeah,
here.
awesome. And I also want to take this time to thank you, Ganesh, for helping me get started with this whole podcasting thing and giving me your time. So thank you honestly.
My, yeah, it's my pleasure, Abhiram. Everyone starts at some place. I also started, so all the best to your podcasting journey. I'm sure you will find more and more interesting perspectives which will benefit everyone.
Sure. And that was the whole purpose, right? So yeah, thanks again. So yeah, let's get started. So Ganesh, I don't want to take your time, and just want to get started with it. So do you want to briefly share about your journey, like your background, how did you came into marketing and stuff?
Yeah, sure. So, thank you. Hello, everyone. So, I am an engineer, Abhiram, and I am in marketing, not almost by an accident, right? So, after completing my engineering, I joined a leading media company here in Pune. I was an engineer, and at that time, it was the era of Web 2.0, right?
Oh,
Internet was arriving, right?
yeah.
And all media houses, including where I used to work, which is Sakar, you have heard about it. So every media house was figuring out, right, like how to take all these print focus operations to now, face this new world of internet and mobile, right? At that time, internet was predominant. So at that juncture, the existing manpower of editors who are trained in journalism, they were not really equipped to take on this transformation, right? And that's exactly where engineers like me fitted in, who had a flair of writing and understanding what's happening in the world of media, and then we could fuse it with technology, right? So I worked there as on this transformation journey, we can say. We train these editorial teams in new ways of working, like blogging and new websites, right? And these are like large, huge websites, right? Like Sakar has millions of readers across Maharashtra and few other states. So that was on one part we managed this transformation. On other part, we started launching these products in on internet, right? So we launched the new websites of Sakar, right? We started. I remember, probably I don't know you even heard of that thing, but that at that time there was like this SMS messaging news services. So you
Oh,
could
oh my.
send a code to some number, and then in return you will get top three news of the hour, right? So something like that. So we
Oh,
launched products like those. It was basically an attempt to how to take old legacy print focused media house and put it into now predominantly internet and mobile based. And we are glad, right? Like actually, we could. Saka was one of the pioneers in India at that time in this transition. So and that's where I got this, other side of. This was like away from engineering, core engineering, right?
right.
But that gave me a sense of, okay, now there is a demand for demand for content. People wanted to go get on internet, and they needed help with social media and so on. So I left Sakar and started a consulting company along with few of my colleagues. We help local businesses and media houses, etc., to again same journey, right?
Marketing word, yeah.
Yeah, and my interest always lied in this new media, more on technological side. How internet is reshaping how people are consuming content, right? Like how it is helping companies to reach their consumers, etc. So I left. I started on my own after 2 years, and I started my own consulting, and that's where actually I met founder of my current company, VOZIQ. He
Oh,
was my client. He was moonlighting, and I started working with him, and then I realized opened completely new set of opportunities, like new world.
right,
Predictive analytics, customer analytics. It was completely new to me, right? Like even at that time, the field itself was not very mature.
right.
Uh, so after a few years of working with him as a consultant, I joined him in full-time role. Even that is now 8, 10 years ago. And since
Wow,
then, so I joined Wozik as founding marketer, right? And since then, I'm working with the team here.
wow, quite a journey. Like I can almost feel goosebumps on my body right now. This whole journey, right? So I have had a similar journey, not journey, but similar transition from engineering to marketing. So yeah, I can feel that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's great, really great. And yeah, so another thing is, now as a director of marketing, what does a day in your life look like? I'm
Okay.
sure, right? In the earlier days, you must be working on core technologies like maybe content writing, video editing, recording, but now things might have changed.
Yeah. So one benefit of working at a startup is it challenges you with wearing multiple hats, right? It doesn't matter, are you getting things done through this channel or that channel, or through this activity or that activity. What's important is you need to get results, right? That means you get to work on a lot of things hands on, right? So that's the perk of working at a startup. So yeah, Abhiram, I think the way, to me, instead of day, uh, let's talk about a week, because that's the rhythm which suits me more. So I plan in weeks, not in like day, right? And then so that's one thing. And second thing is, then I, as a kind of senior member of this startup team, I have to work with multiple stakeholders within the
Right,
company. Right. So there is marketing and inside sales team which directly report to me. Then there is a sales team again, which is led by the founder himself. This
right,
being a startup, right? So I work with them as core part of sales team. And then there is product team, there is delivery team with whom I work, right? So that is the kind of setup, let's say, right now. When we come to a week, my time typically is divided into, setting strategy, right? So we already have, annual plan, quarterly goals, and so on. Then I need to make sure, we are on track to do things which we have, said that we will do, right?
right,
And then work with my team to make sure they are not stuck anywhere. Right, they have everything they need. If they need some inputs, they need some. So we keep discussing. Right, it's like everything boils down to how you are executing week by week. Right,
right,
so that needs a lot of coordination and working together. So that's like execution part. So strategy, execution. Then, like I said, right, like I also need to collaborate with product team and
correct,
delivery team on work related matters. For example, right, I will tell you. So we are planning to launch on various cloud platforms as partners. So for that, I need to work with my IT leader, then product leader. Even founders are involved because that's a strategic channel for us, right?
correct,
So that type of collaboration happens. And then there is like a lot of work which is hands-on. So typically what I focus on is my team is equipped and empowered to take care of things which are which we are planning to do and which we are working on. But apart from that, there are some requirements where grounds of thinking is needed, right? So that's where I focus on as a hands-on contributor.
correct.
Typically, for example, that includes, we started running this series of webinars for
Mm,
last 2 years or so. Now, every month we pick a very strategic thought leadership topic, and I work with my founder, my head of solution enablement on
Right.
webinar. Right, so that content I need to work on, because that's like, you need to start thinking from ground up, in say putting together the story. The other example is, QBRs, for example, right, for delivery team. So they are delivering and working with our clients. So they need help with quarterly business reports, executive readouts, right? I work
Right.
with sales team about proposals and creating proposals, business cases, statements of work, etc. So that's the type of activities which take my time week after week.
Right. Basically, unblocking teams and generating new ideas for scaling your business in whole. Right. Uh,
Yes.
quite quite a day. I mean, I can imagine the amount of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, today's topic of our discussion is startups and marketing strategies. Right. So this whole this whole wave of startups now running in India, including this with the whole idea of a make in India thing, a number of startups are taking place. So yeah, let's get started. So before we dive deep into questions, my I want to get started with what is marketing from your perspective.
Okay. Going back to basics.
Basics, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question, Aviram. Makes you think, right? Because we take it as granted. I feel, we can make it as complicated as we want, but it's like, if we go back to basics, marketing is basically, do your buyers know you,
Yeah.
right? That's first question marketers need to answer, and then second question is, would they buy from you,
Oh,
right?
wow.
So I think these two questions, when you put together answers, and then start executing that, I think that's the, probably that those two questions define work for any marketer, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and if you think about it, the answers are obvious, right? Do your buyers know you? What you need to do to, make your buyers aware? Everyone knows what to do, right? Like most marketers know that thing. And then would they buy from you? It needs, are you hitting right now? Are you telling, understanding what exact pain point they have, right? Are you finding real resonating with them, basically, right?
Right.
Uh, so I think at basic level, that's marketing. See, there is another thing I feel marketing is also about. So that's external, right? Like about buyers and market and everything. But internally also, in a startup like VOZIQ, marketing plays a very important role. I remember, my founder Vasu, he used to say, marketing are basically thinkers, right? So internally, who owns the story, right? Who owns the message? Who is the repository of knowledge? I think that has to be marketing team, right? They need to define this, uh, circle where the company is going to play, right? Because it's about positioning, it's about differentiation, and so on, right? So externally, it's about buyers, and internally, it's about bringing your entire team on one page. That matters a lot, especially in startup. Probably it doesn't matter in a very large organization, because everyone, a lot of work has been already done there, right?
Right.
In startup, I think these two things are, they define marketing.
Wow. Uh, so rightly said. And today I almost got new point of view to look at marketing. Uh, that's great. And so yeah. So when we met for the first time, we were deciding around topics, what we will be discussing and stuff like that, right? Where you mentioned about why don't we discuss around startups and marketing strategies. And you have had a great journey at VOZIQ, right? You have started from, like, you have had a $0 revenue to $5 million revenue, ARR, what we say. And so I want to now understand your journey from zero to your first $1 million ARR. Uh, so that's where, like, what was the single most difficult question you had to answer about ideal customer profile when you were uh, getting started to get in front of your prospects?
Yeah, that's a good question, Abhiram. See, I think again, all these things will differ from startup to startup, from situation to situation, and so on. Right. So that's, let's say, blanket disclaimer. Another thing we need to keep in mind, especially about where all my experience is coming from, is VOZIQ AI. VOZIQ is a bootstrapped startup, right? So what that means is all the dollars we are using, they are coming from customers, not investors, right?
Right.
That has its pros and cons, right? But that's what defines what we focus on and all those things, right? So let's understand all these answers in that context.
Yeah.
When we come to ICP, where we started was the founder already had significant domain experience in contact centers, especially customer analytics. Right? So, how do you use data of customers to make sure you treat different customers differently? So that's the one line thing which he is expert in, and that's still today, after 8-10 years, it's still same thing we are offering, right? Now what that means is, we already he already, because he was experienced in that domain, he already had some contacts, and we got our first project in home security and alarm industry in USA, right? So that's where we started. What that means is, it was already given that our solution fits in contact center and in now home security industry, right?
Right.
The ICP questions we had to answer initially was, where which industries should we target after home security? That was the first question, right? Now, for that, we had to define, okay, which attributes of home security industry are making us a fit for that particular industry, right? And then based on those attributes, what are the adjacent industries we can target? So that was the first question.
Right.
Second question was, within these industries, which functions, which departments we should target, right? Now, contact centers is where we started, right? So should we target contact centers? Should we target marketing? Should we target technology? Those were the questions, right?
Right.
And then the third question we had to answer was, which problem? Because if you think about it, right, like customer analytics, now, which function in a modern business won't be benefited from customer analytics? I think every customer facing businesses we are talking
Right.
about, right?
Correct.
Every function, right? Operations, marketing, sales, customer care, field services, you name it, and every function will benefit from customer analytics. Then where do you focus?
Correct.
Right? So I think those are the three questions we had to answer in initial days, to make sure we are hitting right spots in our target market, and we are creating a growth path for ourselves.
Correct. Okay. And so I had another question, but you almost answered it in the first question itself. But now I would like to tweak it a little. So the earlier question was how finding this answer helped you unlock your first 3 to 4 deals, right? But now I would like to take it more forward in a way. How did you unlock your first 3 to 4 organic leads using after finding these ICP answers?
Organic leads. Okay. See, I think in startup, uh, see, like, I think that depends organic, right? I think that's key here. In a startup like Wozi, so it depends on what solution we are offering, right? The solution we are offering is not a plug and play tool, right? There
Right.
is no, like, someone says, okay, let's implement it. Users can sign up and they start using. It's not like that, right?
Correct.
This is a little more complex enterprise solution. So I don't think organic leads happen anytime before these 3 million. Every lead we had to fight. Actually, we had to take a lot of effort to reach to right people. Sales cycles are long, right?
Correct.
The sales process is complex, right? There are many stakeholders involved, right? So I won't say just answering these questions opened up these organic
Mm,
leads, right? But answering these questions helped us, reach to right audience, right?
correct.
It helped us create our initial value proposition, right? And then, based on that, we built narratives,
Correct.
right? It told us, how to distribute, how to reach, right? Which now became execution problem. Once you answer these basic questions, it's all about
Mm,
how you execute,
correct.
right? And that execution is what gave us next 3 4 deals.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I can completely resonate with my journey in marketing, right? You need to create those use cases in a way after talking with your prospects, or after communicating with your salespeople and stuff like that, right? So that's great. I mean, this is ironic, but yeah. So now, starting, so you started your journey in a startup environment, right? Marketing journey, and startups generally have no zero to no use cases in the beginning of the founding month or first few years, right? So now the question is, how did you craft a messaging narrative that convince your first paying customers uh, to trust your, unproven B2B business? You know, because I have seen this happening with our company as well, where we reach out to people and they ask us what prior history you have, stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think there are two uh, uh, like areas here in your question. One is uh, how do you get your first customer in a way, right?
Right.
And then other thing is like to get that customers, what story would you tell, right?
Correct.
So let's touch both areas. One is I think initial days when you are starting from zero, every startup has to get somewhere. I don't think, see, especially in enterprise complex deployments, things won't happen without a collaboration with your customers.
Correct.
That's very, like important thing founders need to understand when they start out, right? It's not that, okay, take this piece of software, give me money, you are on your own. It's
Right.
not like that, because deployment itself, puts forward a lot of challenges which you have to collaboratively address, right?
Correct.
Now what that means is, initially I think referrals is the best channel to get initial deals,
Right.
right? Now, where do you get referrals, right? It's from your network, where you have worked in the past, or your maybe, friends, customers, past customers, and so on, right?
Right.
Because they already know, right? It becomes easy. So your first bet should be on referrals. That's one thing. And you need to get those referrals, right? Maybe if you are very early in your career, you won't even have referrals. How do you get referrals?
Correct.
It's like pitching to investors. Think
Mm,
of your customers as your investors, right? They are building your product, your startup with you. It's almost like that. They are kind of your founding customers in a way, right?
right.
So you need to pitch, right? Now, where that pitch comes from, that's the other area in your question, right? Like, what's the narrative, right? I
Right.
think that comes from, that has to come from insights, right? In our case, because the founder was already operating in that domain, we had that, uh, we had that takeoff RAM which already
Mm,
happened, right? But that was, let's say, V0 of narrative, right? So you have to start somewhere, right? But the most important thing is how you take your V0 to V1, V2, V3. That has to happen through signals, right? If you're starting from zero, then you need to grab signals from feedback from your mentors, investors, right? Experts in the field. You need to reach out to them, right?
mm,
Then you once you start talking to prospect, that itself gives you feedback about, okay, what is sticking, what is not sticking, what is the real pain point, we should focus here. So that gives you another impetus to update your narrative. And once you have one or two customers, those deployments start streaming signals, what is working, what is not working, right? So that again needs to go back into how you are telling your story, right?
Mm.
uh, till a certain point in your startup journey, this has to happen continuously, this iteration,
Right.
right? To tell your story, to get customer. In that way, it's iterative, collaborative process for early startups.
Wow. It's almost like learning mathematics, if I were to put it in very easiest form.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so once you know, as you mentioned, you have to reach out to your network, get referrals from them and stuff like that. So what was the marketing strategy used for your organic prospects? Either it was content, you know, uh, or purely outbound in a way.
Yeah, so we talked about referrals, right? So that was
Yeah,
one major thing.
correct.
Apart from that, I think it was mainly outbound.
Okay.
Especially a startup like VOZIQ, which is bootstrap, like I mentioned, you don't have luxury of wasting too many resources.
Correct.
You can't waste time, you can't waste money, you don't have a lot of team members, you don't, and so on, right? There are a lot of constraints. So those constraints basically define what you are relying on, right? Uh, Considering all those things, the most important survival metric for VOZIQ AI, company like VOZIQ AI, was, are you getting next deal or not? Right now,
Mm,
what gives you next deal is, are you generating sales opportunity or not? Right.
correct.
Uh, in our uh, so what that means is, entire marketing and sales effort was focused on, let's generate sales opportunity.
Correct.
Right. For that, we decided outbound is our best shot.
Mm,
Why? Because we knew exactly what our market is. Even today, we are very focused on very specific niche, right? Let's solve, use customer analytics, right?
mm,
Predict customer behavior, and then help businesses solve very important growth problems,
right.
right? So that's the thing, right? Now we know who exactly needs this solution, so we have defined who is qualified to be in our database, right?
Correct.
Once you have your database, then what is the best way to reach to your database? You can't just keep publishing blog posts and hope
Mm,
they may read and fill a form, and that won't happen, right?
correct.
Because it's about your survival, right? So the best way for us to reach to them and get their attention was outbound.
Mm,
So we started with outbound emails, outbound even phone calls in early days,
mm,
and that was our, let's say, go to market channel.
correct. Correct. Now, coming to, so now diving a little deeper into outbound thing. Demand generation, often believed as dirty work by most of the industry, right? And because, and the reason being, the conversion ratio now today is very low, right? Because most of your emails either get spammed or people ignore them or just delete the inbox, right? Stuff like that. So what acquisition channel did you rely on, or you are relying now, uh, in your outbound marketing strategy?
Yeah, you pointed out very important, important trend, Abhiram, which we are also seeing. The conversion rates of cold outbound outreach, especially through emails, is coming down
Yeah.
significantly, right? But I think, in our case, what has happened is, uh, so this is like recent trend in our experience, right? What has happened is, at the exact same time, we started complementing this outbound with other activities,
Mm,
right? So now we have more success stories to showcase, right?
right.
And what is really helping at this point to us is, uh, putting basically, actually showing your face to buyers,
Okay.
because you know all these in this all virtual channels, when it comes to spending. So for example, here, in case of VOZIQ AI, the ticket size is also high,
Mhm.
right? Why someone should trust a company which has sent them an email claiming they can solve my problem, right?
Correct.
Executives don't make decisions like that, right?
Correct.
So recently, what is like working for us is actually going to our meeting with clients, right?
Yeah.
So we did roadshows which had really good response. Our sales team is attending conferences, meeting with prospects, right? So
Mm.
that is generating good response. Putting all these webinars out itself is generating a lot of responses, because the message we want to communicate is very important, and it's like very uh, timely for them, because now entire world is talking about AI,
AI.
right?
Right.
In which domain we are operating, right? So there is a pressure on these executives to bring in AI, start AI-led transformation in their organizations, and then need partners who have done it, right?
Mhm.
So we use webinars as a channel to, put our founders and senior people in front of the market. Let them see, right, like who are the people we are going to entrust this execution, AI-led transformation. Because
Right.
ultimately, like I said, right, in complex deployments, it's a partnership. It's not like uh, uh, plug and play, right?
Correct.
So some of these things have worked for us recently.
Mhm. So yeah, I mean, basically, even though technology has evolved at so fast paced in last few years, marketing still remains the same in a way, you know, pitching to clients manually and stuff like that. Great. And now, uh, you mentioned before your founder is still into sales world, right? Uh, Basically looking after sales and stuff like that. So now, even I have seen same thing at uh, CloudNX, my company, right? Basically, what it means is CEOs and founders are your first salespeople when it comes to startup journey and scaling startups, right? So the question now is, for a company who plans to invest in a marketing activity, or at least have started their investment in marketing activities, what is the single most important metric or piece of data a marketing leader needs to deliver to CEO to keep your marketing investments prioritized, right? Because as you said, uh, you have to pitch your clients manually, meet them in person, and stuff like that. Which also feels to most other business stakeholders that marketing, or internet marketing in a way, is not effective or does not provide value to them. So how would you
Yeah,
like?
I won't say it doesn't provide value. But sometimes, like for example, right now, let's take an example of road shows and conferences, right? Like you go to a conference and suddenly you can't expect people to start talking to you, right? So there is a lot of work has to go, happen before the conference. That happens through
Mm,
digital channels. The digital channels still work; they are still important thing, but uh, in some cases they are not sufficient, right?
mm,
So you have to have everything in place, but still, sometimes to have advanced discussions in sales process, you have to personally go on site, meet with people. So my point is, actually, having that personal relationship, face-to-face interaction is still very important. It's not. Let's not discount that,
mm,
right? That's the thing. Now, founder-led sales, right? Like which you mentioned, I think that has to happen, right? A founder, CEO, they have to wear, all hats in initial days. I have seen that very closely,
yeah,
right? It's not only about sales, even marketing, right? Like because it's ultimately vision of the founder.
correct.
If founder, offloads that thinking to someone else, then it might not align, right? So that's the thing, right? Like founder have to be in forefront, and till the time everything gets in place, they have to do that, right? And having a good team in to collaborate with them makes the job easier. In initial days, especially in VOZIQ, because it's a bootstrap company, we focused only on one metric: how many opportunities are we generating? There was no other piece of data. There is no other work, nothing. Because if you do 10 things and don't generate opportunities, you are still screwed,
Correct.
right? So finding that, in our case, it was sales opportunities. So that
Mm.
was the job, right? So that was the job of founder. That was the job of marketing team. That was the job of sales development team. Everyone, right? Because if they don't focus on this, then what are you doing, right? Where is growth? So that's, I think, the key piece of metric we tracked. Key metric we tracked.
Mm. Okay. And so, okay. So, what would be one single skill set that you would recommend startups and their marketing teams to focus on for accelerating value via marketing? And now, the key here to focus on is uh, accelerating value via marketing, not just cold outbounds or reference.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is again, going back to basics.
Basics.
I feel there are two important things which you need to always keep on top of your mind as marketing leader, and then make sure your team understands that, and they are on the same page. Those two things are, one is storytelling, right?
Okay.
Are you telling a story, crafting a message which is resonating with the buyer? That's very important, right? By not aligning it with what is happening in their world, you are already creating that gap which even sales team cannot cross, right? So that's very important. Now, okay, you have crafted story, but how you are taking that story to your market, right? I think that is the distribution problem. So where your buyers are, right? Where your prospects are they getting to see your story, right? And that can happen through multiple places, right? Like all marketing is basically constructed around that.
Right.
But that distribution is equally important. So unless you are good at storytelling, unless you figure out what is boosting your distribution, I think you won't cross that uh, gap, right? Which
Mm,
prevents you from growing.
correct. And I would assume story is prepared based on uh, your talks with customers and prospect and stuff like that, right?
Yes, yes, that's the part. And then other thing is, you also need to understand what's happening in their environment, right? For example, if economy is in facing challenges, inflation is rising, their customers, right?
Mm,
Customers of your prospects,
right.
they are in a certain situation. They can't spend money. They don't have uh, uh, you know uh, enough cash flow to spend on services or products, which affects business of your prospects, right?
Correct.
So now what's happening in that environment of your prospects, your decision makers, that research is also helping you to craft your story.
Wow. 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 It is so much like a food chain in a way, right? Where one company is dependent on another and stuff like
Yeah,
that. Wow.
exactly.
I never actually, I honestly never thought of this in, so strategic and a focused way. Wow. And okay, so let's move ahead. So you have achieved a predictable growth now, right? Achieving predictable growth is itself a success of your strategy, right? And now the question would be, how do you personally define predictable growth in a B2B product, SaaS product context?
Yeah. Uh, so see, the way I look at it, I think uh, basically as a startup, you are trying different things, right?
Yeah.
which story is clicking. Should I say it this way, that way? This word is better or that word? Basically, your life is defined by all those experiments, right? It's about story, channel, right? Even right, you probably as a marketer, you know, right? Should I post it on Monday or Thursday,
Mm. Right.
right? In morning or afternoon, right? Those are the questions as marketers we deal with, right? And all those, that is part of the experimentation, and you learn, right? Uh, Now, in that initial journey, some things click, some things don't click, right? And you keep picking up, okay, this is the winner in the experiment.
Mm.
Let's, right, pick that and then move ahead, build upon that, right? Now, what happens is, at one point, I think you figure out that you uh, figure out a direct relationship between what inputs you are giving to this system and what outputs you are getting, right?
Mm.
So at that point, I think it is not about uh, uh, it's still there is an element of experimentation, but broadly, you know, okay, if I do these three things, I'm going to get this much of output. If I add more, right, or do more, add more money, do more channels, then increase intensity, right, frequency, then I'm going to get more output, right? So there is a direct relationship between what you are putting in and what you are getting out. Now, getting to that point itself is a journey, but once that you figure that out, then I think you can say that now it has become predictable. After, before that point, what are you working on, right? All these experiments, all this figuring out, that's like things which don't scale,
Yeah.
right? Like Paul Graham, probably you have read about it, right? These are like, it's a grind, right? You have to do this thing, figure out, and all those things. After you figure out that direct relationship, then it becomes execution problem, scale up problem, literally, right?
Mm.
Now you put more budget, add more team members, do more activities, do
Right.
it at larger scale, right? And then you know, because if these are the things working, if you do it more, you're going to get more output.
Correct.
So I think that point, that phase is what predictable growth is all about.
Okay. So yeah. Now what? Okay. Now let me put you on spot in a way. What three metrics, marketing metrics, transition from being nice to have vanity metrics to must have predictable indicators in this stage?
Yeah. Again, I will, maybe the answer will be different from for different type of startups and situations and so on. What I will talk about, what I have seen. Uh, when it is, it's a hierarchy, right? Like I said, where we started in initial days was there was only one bullseye metric, which was, are you generating enough opportunities or not? How many, right? That was the question. But behind that, there is a hierarchy of activities which we were doing, but not, they didn't matter if they click, right? Uh, so as you grow, then you start putting your focus on fine tuning and tweaking those other metrics. For example, now how you generate opportunities, you need to get a meeting. How you get a meeting, right? You need to have accounts and contacts in your database, right?
Mm.
Now, how you get their attention? You need to have reach, right? Then you need to get their attention, right? So, what that means is we are moving gradually from bottom of the funnel to top of the funnel as you grow,
Okay.
right? As a 0 to 1, 0 to 3, 0 to 5 million startup,
Right.
right? So the must-have startup metric then gradually go from sales opportunities to, are there enough leads with whom we can have discussions.
Mm.
Before that, especially for a company like VOZIQ, which has pre-qualified database of prospects, right? Do you have enough reach? Do enough people in your database know about VOZIQ AI or not? Right? That's the
Mm.
question you need to answer. So reach, number of leads, meetings, opportunities. I think that's the hierarchy of metrics, which you need to focus on, which are important.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, now this is just out of curiosity now. When you work on website organic content pieces, you only get prospect information if you have call to action forms on your website, right? And another thing is, uh, when we work on social media in B2B cases, it's more of an LinkedIn strategy. So do followers and things like that matter on social media?
Followers, uh, okay, there are again, two things here, especially in startups, right? Like we talked about founder-led
Correct.
sales marketing, right? I think one, and I talked about, like putting face in front of people, right? Because people work with people, right? They do transact with people. It's not like Google, right? Nobody knows like whom I'm interacting at Google. I just create an account, start using Gmail.
Correct.
Enterprise software is not like that, right? What that means is you need to put founder in front of the world, right? So that is basically we can say founder branding, right? So on
Mhm.
LinkedIn it can be founder's profile and it can be company page, right?
Right.
Number of followers doesn't matter if the followers are not from your database or from
Oh,
your target market, right?
correct.
It does, because on LinkedIn especially, people follow because they maybe there are aspirants, career aspirants, right? They
Mm,
want a job, they are following, right?
yeah.
uh, there may be some influencers, some thought leaders, etc., right? Now that's nice to have, but
Mm,
if you are in a like early phase, you just need to ignore that noise,
nice.
right? What matters for you is basically, like I said, right, are you basically reaching to a person in your database, your target market or not? That's the only question which defines success.
Correct. Basically, eliminating all the noise and just focus
Yes,
on your customer.
exactly.
Correct. So now, once you start getting visibility over your marketing channels, it may be your outbound, it may be your content generation, and so now what you have also mentioned earlier, right? Your strategy changes. So once you start getting visibility, your generic strategy shifts from ad hoc to strategic, which, as you mentioned, you need to now define different metrics in a way. So now, what? Yeah, in your case now, what was the most successful content format for converting high intent leads in mid market B2B spaces? Was it more of white papers, blog articles, webinar recordings, use cases, stuff like
Yeah, I would say two pieces of content which work the best for us. One is business case,
that? Mm,
because we had a pre-qualified database. What that has pros and cons, right? Con is you don't have like unlimited market. You have to work within that constraint, right? But pro is now virtually everyone, right?
mm,
Because let's say you have 100 companies, right? What is preventing you from being an expert in the business of those 100 companies, right? Like as
oh,
it relates to your offering, right? So what we did from beginning was we created proactively. We did very deep research into all these accounts, right, and created business cases for them. Right now, what that means is like if they implement our solution based on their revenue, customer base, and the metrics we were targeting, how much they can expect from this solution deployment, right? How much ROI, how much customer lifetime value, how much MPV, right? So those business cases, when you lead with value, that's what very senior executives want to hear about, right? If I'm a CXO, CEO, or VP, uh, I don't want to hear about how, for example, in case of AI, your model is working in background,
mm,
uh, right? What I want to understand is, okay, are you going to solve my problem or not, right? And my problem is like very specific. I want to, in our case, for example, we target customer retention, right?
mm,
Are you going to help me reduce customer churn or not? That's the question which is on top of their mind. If we tell them, we will address that, and what you are going to get is 12% churn reduction, right? 10 million customer lifetime value, 400% ROI. they want to hear this type of metrics. So business case, when they see, we I work on these sales decks, right? So when they come to that slide, it's like a light bulb moment for them, right? Because
Oh.
now they quickly understand, okay, are they what are we selling and what they can expect, right? So they can think of, okay, let's give this a shot, right? So it removes that reluctance to adopt new solution, work with new vendor, and so on. So business case is one. And other thing is obviously success stories, right? In past, have you worked with company like mine? That's the question these people have, right?
Hmm.
Rightfully, right? If you show them, okay, we exactly helped a leader like you from a company like yours to improve metrics which you are also targeting, and they saw these results. And
Hmm.
then, okay, if you want to talk, we can arrange a referral call.
Wow.
Right. So that I think these success stories and business case, I think they are the best pieces of content, which have worked for us.
Hmm. Which also means your marketing funnel changes uh, itself in a way from prospect to prospect. So what that means is, even if you are, for an example, if you are targeting a uh, let's say fashion industry, and your product is something related to fashion industry, you will have to create your marketing funnel differently for uh, end users who will be actually using your product. Their marketing funnel would be different, and the marketing funnel for business stakeholders itself would be different, uh, if I were to understand it correctly.
Mm, I won't say. See, that's the thing, right? Like, if you are very clear about what you are targeting, which titles you are targeting at what seniority level, right? Which metrics, which business problem, then I don't think that should change from business to business, right?
Mm,
If you have, for example, 10, you are targeting 10 industries, right? But the problem is you can practically solve one problem. You cannot
mm,
solve, like, okay, 10 problems for this company, 10 for this industry. It's not like that, right?
mm.
You have few solutions. Doesn't matter which industry, but you have to pick the industries, right? So from that sense, I don't think funnel changes from account to account or industry to
Okay.
industry. What has to change is what story you are telling. Take example of business case. That cannot be common, right? Okay, there are some companies where you don't have data, then you have to present a generic business case,
Mm,
indicative business case, right? But if you know, then it's better to say, okay, we found this data about you based on our research, and this is the business case for you,
mm.
right? So what you say will change based on your research, but how you approach them, right? Where you are seeing them in funnel, I don't think that will change from account to account or contact to contact.
Okay. uh, yeah, so now coming to the whole AI world, where everyone is buzzing around, right? So yeah, while now AI, if you look at it, even if you search a single query on Google now, that whole AI snippet is popped up, and that answers for you, right? You don't have to anymore look at different websites and get your perspective to any particular niche topic. So now, while AI driven search results are the changing the way people look at content, what are some content formats you recommend to people or industries starting today and upcoming years to bring right visibility to their brand?
See, this is very exciting change, right? Like transformation. What AI is, potentially it is offering to individual professionals and businesses. Uh, I, I I won't think of this in terms of content formats, Abhiram. Let's understand what is changing, right?
Mm,
Because I don't think anyone is in uh, in a position to say, that this is the answer, right? Because it's still evolving very rapidly.
Mm.
But what we know is behavior is changing, right? Like you rightly mentioned, right? Earlier in Google, like they literally had early days of Google, right? They literally used to publish guide to construct search queries,
Right.
right? Because it was all driven by keywords, right?
Yeah.
Now, keywords define how users found information. Keywords define how I'm creating information,
Right.
right? So you have you probably have seen this. Early days, they used to stuff
Keyword
keywords,
stuffing was the major pain.
right? Yeah, because it was driven by keywords, right? Now what that has changed, right? Now what people, how they find information is they ask question. What
Mm.
they get is not a result, not an address to some page. They get answer.
Correct.
That is what AI mode in Google is, right?
Right.
So any search query, even if whatever you type, Google first tells you, okay, this is the answer. You don't even need to visit a page, right?
Correct.
So it's basically, you are not even visiting
Exactly.
websites,
Yeah.
right? You're getting answers. What that means is people are now habituated to ask questions and get answers, not enter construct query and then go to a page and then try to
Correct.
find answer, right? Now how that is going to affect marketing, right? We need to think about that, right?
Right.
Again, I still feel whatever was true earlier, that is still true in when it comes to storytelling, to content. You still have to be authentic. Still have to have that basic substance, right? Like, are you really uh, providing real substance in your content or not? That still is that's not going to change, right? But when it comes to maybe writing articles or creating content, etc., I think being more structured will be helpful, right? Structured writing is helpful. Earlier, if you, like you mentioned, right, keyword stuffing, right?
Mm.
Add the keyword in H1, add keyword in title, right?
Correct.
So it's like keywords everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Now when you write, maybe questions is the new headline, right? Because that's what people are asking. That's what these AI engines, AI, Chat GPT and Gemini, etc. They are looking for, right? So if
Mm.
you structure your information that way, right, basically make it more structured. I think that will get picked up more, right? So that's another thing. I think one of the most important thing is how you are unique. See, what is also happening is AI is also generating a lot of misleading information. It's
Yeah.
literally cooking, right? Like
Right.
information,
Yeah.
right? Now that reminds me of early days of Wikipedia, right? Like, because I was working in a media when Wikipedia started gaining up momentum. Like, our editors, they discouraged everyone to go to Wikipedia
Oh,
because they thought, okay, Wikipedia might be misleading because anyone can edit Wikipedia. I
correct.
think in terms of AI, these LLMs, we are exactly at that point. LLMs, they can give us any answer which we want to hear, right?
Mm.
If the piece of information doesn't exist, it can write it, right?
Correct.
Now, how do you make sure that what people are reading about your company, your product is even authentic, right? Like how right message is reaching to the your whoever is looking for your
Correct.
product or service, right? I think what matters here is uniqueness and originality. I think now we need to think, right, as marketers, should we put our case studies behind forms? Because
Mm.
that is the most authentic content we have.
Exactly.
If if the AI, these LLMs, they can't find it, then they may
What's the use?
tell some wrong story, some unimportant story, right? Some misleading story. We don't know, right? So I think these are some of the questions probably marketers will have to tackle as this trend catches up.
Wow. I mean, I'm already now worried about if we should even have a call to action to generate leads from our website. So,
I don't think it's exciting, Abhiram, if you think about it, right? Right?
uh,
It's a change, and like, industries have gone through similar, big shifts a few
mm,
times. So I think we'll adapt. I'm not worried about that. Right? But like we'll have to adapt, right? We'll have to change the way we work, right, and make this new shift useful to us, not like
Hmm.
harm us, right?
Correct.
As marketing professionals.
Okay. Now coming to the numbers, business, like dollars, discussing about dollars. Budget is, you know, big constraint. Uh, doesn't matter the company size or their income, revenue, stuff like that. So budget has always decided, you know, s- budget is always decided strategically by top management, right? And considering our talk related to startup today, what marketing activities should early startups invest in? So uh, I I know that you suggested going to network and referrals and stuff like that, but now when I say marketing activities, I'm more relating it to your whole organic reach outs and organic visibility.
Yeah. Okay. So it is an interesting question, Abhiram. Uh, See, like I have a very like strong point of view about this. What you said, right? Why top management gives you budget and you have to work in that, right? I think as marketers we need to own results.
Mhm.
If I can say I want to generate this much of traction or these things, this is the way I want to do it, and for that I need this much budget, right?
Correct.
Now if it is not like super exorbitant, right, then you need to make a case for why you want to do that, right, and then get that budget, right?
Mm.
Which founder doesn't want to grow? If you
Correct.
say I can give you this much growth, let's work on this, then founders will be actually more than happy to provide you the budget, right?
Mm.
So that's one part. But like you said, right, there is constraint. Early stages, every dollar counts, right? So where you will put it, that's still very important.
Correct.
Especially if you are at zero, starting from zero, then obviously, right, like the basic things you need to take care of is you know do you have basic collateral in place, right? Do
Mm.
you have your brochures, sales decks ready? Do you have your marketing website in place, right? Then do you have your tech stack in place, right? Like basic tech stacks like CRM, if you
Mm.
need automation tools, analytics, right? Those are the things which are important, right? They have to be there to just enable initial work, right? I feel one of the most important things as startups is to hire right people,
Mm.
right? So the hiring right people, and that does it still has to be lean operation, but getting one or two go-getters in initial days is, I would say, critical to your success as a startup.
Mm.
Because you get those people, nurture them, give them, empower them with context and goals and everything. I think they will transform the journey, right? So that itself will be major part of initial budget allocation.
True.
And then there will be, you will also have to work with freelancers because you cannot hire everything, right?
Correct.
Everyone. For example, there are design needs, maybe, video editing needs,
Mm.
SEO. Right? So there are a lot of things which you can just, get agencies or freelancers to offload. And these, your in-house team can manage those as projects.
Okay. Now, now again coming to the AI part. AI is now new go to be. Uh, I mean, it may be a task or a mentorship activity. You can just go to AI and ask whatever challenge you are facing in a way, right? And everyone today is concerned about AI taking their jobs and stuff like that. Like I can remember 2 years back from now, everyone was worried. Be it freshers or experienced people, uh, they all were worried in a way, will AI take our job now? Right. So what are your thoughts on AI and human led marketing models and other business areas in general?
Yeah. Okay. So, uh, see, in a way, I have a front row seat in this all, let's say, drama, Abhiram, because I'm working in an AI product company. Right?
Correct.
It's our job to implement, deploy AI to solve the business problems which we are promising them we will solve.
Mm,
And we are seeing what type of challenges these executives are facing, where it is working, what is not working, right? Uh, so I have some visibility into that part.
mm,
Based on that, I think we are not there yet where AI will completely replace humans, uh, right? If you say that, it sounds obvious, right? But that's the reality, right? uh, See, because the reason is, in any organization, any operation, there are things. See, what as a marketer you are working on day to day. Give some thought to that, right?
mm,
I think it's not about every day you don't wake up and work on, okay, let's figure out value proposition. Let's figure
mm.
out what my narrative is. No, it's already figured out, right?
Correct.
Then what are you handling day to day? I think those are all like human coordination issues,
Mm,
things which don't scale, right? Okay, am I collaborating with my founder? How can I, get things done from product team? How I can work with them, right? So all this collaboration, human coordination, I don't think AI is there yet to address those, right? As long
mm,
as that's there, all these things which don't scale, right? Real problem solving in business situation, it's still, I think, humans have to be in the loop, right?
mm,
Uh, right, and then maybe the situation we don't know, right? So potentially it can change, but we are not there yet, right? Now, to your other point about AI taking over jobs. See, if you are in career, if you are worried about will AI take my job or not, better question is, what are you doing about it?
correct.
If you are worried, then okay, then work on it. See, if I think it boils down to, as a professional, are you a contributor, right? So there is a very good analogy, right? So
Yeah.
a bus, let's say a car is going, or let's say bus is going. Are you driving the bus, or are you are just riding, right? Like you are a
Uh,
passenger, right?
yeah.
If you are a real driver contributor, then it doesn't matter. You won't be, like it's very difficult to replace you unless there is like very seismic shift happens, right? Uh, but if you are not that contributor, then you need to worry about not only AI, you need to worry about, okay, there might be a better human, right? A
Mm,
fresher, a better skilled person who can replace me, right? So I think that's how we need to look at this thing. It has challenges, definitely, but it also comes up with opportunities, right?
opportunities.
If you know how to use that and deliver results, then I think it can be a booster, actually.
Wow. Yeah. So well put a thought, right? I don't think any other way of making it more simple. Uh, now, now looking at your journey of 2 decades at marketing, uh, what is the fundamental truth about B2B marketing that has not changed despite all the technological shifts you have seen? Yeah. So, you know, considering your 20 plus years of experience, you have seen whole technological shifts right from Google changing in itself to .com bubbles to n number of people adopting website and now AI. What's that piece of
Yeah,
truth?
yeah. We briefly touched those, but I think the see, people buy from people, especially in this enterprise businesses, right? Now I think a year ago or so there was a demo, where Google, I don't know which, some AI calling a restaurant. The call is answered by another bot.
Mm,
right?
Yeah.
And they are transacting, right? Now, a lot of internet they say is like that, right? It's like basically bots are generating content, bots are visiting pages, bots are basically
Correct.
driving the entire internet, right? At least in enterprise context, I don't think that works, right?
Mm,
Here, it's still you need to, like I said, there are a lot of complexities, and AI is not there yet to address those operational situations, right?
mm,
Which need experience, which need a different insight, right? Which unfortunately AI doesn't have, right?
correct.
So I don't think that's going to change anytime
Mm,
soon. Now people buy from people. Now we can make it as complex as we want, but
yeah.
that I think still fundamental truth. Another fundamental truth is your product actually delivering value or not, right?
Mm,
That's the very important question, right? You can construct very good story and do all other things right, but the product itself is crap, then no one is going to trust you, right?
correct.
You may get initial customers, but after some time nobody is going to buy from you. You're going to die basically as a business, right? So product value, good story, right? Communicating that trust, in
Mm,
building that trust, right? Communicating authenticity, right? I think those fundamental truths I don't think will change.
wow. So, yeah, I mean, I was reading this book called The Personal MBA by Josh Kaufman, and it said something similar. I mean, exact same line which you mentioned. People buy from people. So, yeah,
Mm, nice.
I mean, it's,
Okay.
it, yeah, it's a great thought that's put on text, right? So, yeah, Ganeshji, so we almost are now to the end of our episode. And Here's here are two questions that I would like to ask you. One is, if you could go back to your 25-year-old self and give yourself a piece of advice to accelerate your career path from a newbie to now senior director of marketing.
So I would say, okay, go to Stanford, do MBA, join McKinsey, and do something else. But uh, I, let me answer it in a different way, Abhiram. Maybe let's say someone who is just starting their journey, maybe because I'm seeing, right, like I'm seeing freshers joining, right, how
Mm,
they work and those things, and I keep telling this to even my team, right? I think as professionals we need to be confident about our work, right? We need to own our work, right? uh, that's I think very important, right? Only then you will be able to actually drive things in your organization, right?
mm,
You will be able to demonstrate results, right? So owning your work, being very very high conviction about what you think is right, etc. I think those qualities are those are very important, I think, requirements. uh, the other thing is, especially in this world of AI, I feel, which is like the skill of problem solving is going to be, I think, very important, right?
mm,
Because what happens if you have everyone has access to same set of tools, right?
correct.
Everyone can do same research, right? Gain same insights. Then how you are going to differentiate? I think the differentiation will come from what questions are you asking, how are you framing problems, right?
Wow.
That can come from experience, but that can also come from a attitude of, okay, let's solve problem, right? What
Mm,
is the problem? I think for that to happen, you need to have very wide exposure. So don't just so basically you need to travel, you need to meet people, you need to read books. I think those are very important, because then only you can get that multidisciplinary approach. You can pull
mm,
from lot of different areas, frame right problems, ask right questions. I think that is more important than answers, right? Answers today, they are
yeah,
commodity. You
correct.
can ask any search engine, they will answer. But what questions are you going to ask? That is very important.
So true. So true. I mean, uh, even I have had faced this same situation, right? When I started my journey in digital marketing, as a fresher, you are literally confident on anything. You don't have enough point of views to look at a particular problem, and if anyone is asking you a question, you are just eager to answer the question. That's major shift also, which I have seen in myself. Now, more than answering to a question, you are now more uh, focused on what the question is really asked and what kind of problem it is now. It has to now solve, right? And
Right.
then you evolve, you know,
Yeah.
find your answer to it.
Yeah.
That's so true. So last question: any learning resources you refer to or would like to recommend to uh,
Yeah.
industry peeps?
Yeah. So I think there are like abundance of like resources, but there are some books which I they connected with me. They gave me a different point of view. So maybe I will just recommend those.
Sure.
One is a book called Zero to One by Peter Thiel.
Oh.
Right. So he is a very successful entrepreneur, investor, visionary. Right. That book gives a different perspective. It forces you to focus on getting results, right? Not
Mm,
about process and all those things, right? And it tells you like some of the things I mentioned, right? Like basically have a point of view, right? Go for the win, not for you know metrics which don't really matter, right? So
mm,
so I think it's and the book title, right? Zero to one, literally like where I have expertise in, I have my experience in, and what's the topic of our uh,
cool.
discussion today.
Yeah.
So that's like one book which is like I would say very important. Another book is maybe in similar way, which is Cold Start Problem.
Oh, wow.
So Cold Start Problem is by Andrew Chen. Again,
Okay.
he is a entrepreneur, investor, right? And again, same domain, right? If you're Uber, for example, how are you going to start on day one, right?
Mm,
How are you going to grow? Because you don't have drivers on your platform, you don't have customers on your platform. Then
yeah.
how are you going to start, right? So he, through various case studies, he has discussed all the problems and approaches
Mm,
and successes others have seen, right?
mm,
I think that's a really good book to
okay.
go through. Another book is Fooled by Randomness. It is by Nassim Nicholas Taleb.
Okay.
It's not on marketing, but I think it gives you a completely different point of view and helps you understand, how biases in our thinking, they can block you from seeing what's reality.
Wow.
So I think that's a very, very good book, just not for marketing, but it basically stayed with me.
Mm,
Right. So I connected with that book a lot. So I think these three books are really good.
okay. Great. I'll get those links and put it in our YouTube description whenever we publish this episode. So yeah, that's great. That's it for today. I have no more questions. Maybe we can record another session just discussing on strategy building. Uh, if I mean,
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Why not?
yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah. So we are to the closure part now, and yeah, that's where I would like to
Yeah.
thank you, Ganeshji, and yeah, see you.
Yeah. Sure. Thank you, Abhiram, and all the best to your new initiative, this
Thank you.
podcasting. I'm sure just if you're. I'm looking forward to see other guests and more conversations on marketing on your podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Let's hope. Fingers crossed.
Definitely. Yeah. Okay.